Good afternoon. This is Todd Colvin coming to you from the floor of the CME Group. We are looking at energy and oil prices. Quite a jump on Monday. We saw oil prices get north of $70, actually close to $70.50. A lot of the move comes on supply, demand, there's weather variables. So a lot of things stirring in the pot right now. And it seems to me that after that recent sell-off we saw about 3 weeks ago, things have really turned around and we're starting to build a base and edge higher. So right now we're seeing those oil prices reflect that. Obviously still a lot of risk out there as well. Despite the fact that maybe there was some questionability about global demand with some of the global GDP numbers, but after last week's U.S. GDP number, things are back on track, but oil prices seem to be recovering quite nicely in a steady way. We're not seeing a massive spike and a pullback. We've seen kind of a slow uptick in prices over the last 3 weeks, and that looks like it's going to continue. And if you look at the dollar trade, while it's been a mixed trade with oil right now. We've seen the dollar today a little weaker, certainly to be expected as we've got central bank meetings out of Japan, we've got one out of England, and we've got one here. So there's a lot that could reflect the dollar, whether it be a bid to other currencies based on their policies, maybe pulling some of that stimulus off the table, because certainly the Fed is not expected to raise rates this week and possibly look to question their ability to raise rates twice over the remainder of this year based on what we're seeing with the yield curve and forward guidance. So right now the dollar may be trading more about those central banks, and that's obviously giving dollar a little bit of oil a little bit of a bid here. But I think right now they're trading on two different paths. So oil on its own path right now, separate from the dollar. And lastly, let's look at positioning. Those speculators, they've been getting out over the past 2 weeks as oil prices have been rising. So I think that right now as we get north of 70, some of those speculators are going to look to get back in, and that could actually help the market exaggerate any moves higher. So as speculators have been getting out on the rise here based on the news I just talked about, maybe global demand wouldn't be so strong, maybe supply would come back if the Saudis decided to add more. Maybe it was going to be coming from the U.S. side. Certainly there was a reason to be getting out, but now they may have gotten behind the 8 ball and they're going to be running and chasing this market higher. So as we head into the beginning of this week, it looks like oil started off on a very bullish path, certainly following into something we've seen over the last 2 weeks. Things can change very quickly in oil. Obviously, it's a very volatile contract, but right now things look smooth and steady to the upside. This is Todd Colvin coming to you from the floor of the CME Group.